Okay, so we're up and recording. Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll share my screen like last time, and we'll continue talking about those four categories that I really think we need to spend some time on, because a number of people think they know a lot about these things, make serious errors sometimes when they're quoting statistics, and sometimes the statistics do not help their case. Have you seen my screen?
Not yet. Just launching Zoom scene.
Sorry?
Just launching, nothing yet. Nothing uploaded yet.
Really?
Not that you're there, but it says you're launching Zoom, meeting Zoom.
All right, I'll start over. We good now?
You're cooking with gas.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we're on point 5, where we had full agreement about related to mission and purpose. But where I was making it an issue, had to do with statistics, expert views, evidence, and trends. And I want Belinda on. Belinda, you on?
Yes, I'm here.
Right. Okay. I want Belinda and Kevin and Glenda and people and Kenya and the people who have had some project proposal experience to really either agree or disagree as we make these points, if some of this has happened to you before. Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
All right. No problem.
What has been your experience with the use of statistics? Karen? Have you found yourself having to,
Can you repeat that question?
what has been your experience in the use of statistics in your proposal writing? Have you ever had proposals come back because you didn't have enough statistics?
Well, I had one problem with that, and that was in relation to a poverty alleviated assessment that was done. I had quoted the wrong statistics. And I'll tell you how I had quoted, because being a community person, I thought that I could have just do my own community assessment and then put my own statistics to it. And I had a big problem because it was contradicting to what the National Statistic Body was actually saying.
In terms of what you did a household survey, what you did a...
Yes, I did a household survey to see how much persons are living below the poverty line, because I was trying to develop a project for that, trying to get some funding to for that. And I was looking at the amount of persons who was, I don't know if I want to call it illiterate, but didn't have formal secondary school education.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I went around doing my personal one-on-one survey. I didn't check with National Statistics Body, because recently they would have done surveys on that. I'm talking about 2 years ago, just before, what's the name again? The National Statistics Body would have done survey on terms of poverty alleviation. Marp got the copy for me after, you know. But I was quoting figures and saying that 60% of persons within the area of Waltham didn't have secondary education, when the truth and the fact is it was just about 10%.
Okay. And sometimes, remember, there's a difference between access to schooling and actual schooling.
Yes.
Some of the statistics are based on the fact that there's universal schooling in the country. So the assumption is that everybody is going to school. So you have the high figures.
But I mean, when they speak The guy spoke to me, he told me that when I'm doing, whether it's a proposal or whether I'm doing a speech, it doesn't matter. That was one of the lessons I took away from it. Told me that ensure always that my statistics are proper and they have came from a source, and that I should always reference a source when I'm using certain statistics, because it can have serious implications.
Yeah, and the thing about referencing the source is that the source, once you recognize a source, even if the source is not a flawless, most reputable source, at least you know where you're getting it. Even if you, let us assume you took it from a newspaper article. If you said you're using these statistics from a newspaper article, right? You then
Direct one, no.
up to the audience to decide, the listening audience.
Mr. Conji,
Sorry? Richard's near mic is on. Was on. Yeah, so it's up to the audience to decide whether they think the statistics that would have been found in that particular newspaper would be legitimate enough for them to move on. You can also quote the person that you got the statistics from. You could say that a speech given by Mr. X on the 15th of March said that the literacy rate in St. John's is 15%. That way is safe. You are stating the source. It's up to us now to go back and see if Mr. X has any reputation at all, or if he himself was quoting now from some other source. So once you name the source, it's a way of protecting yourself as well, and giving the listening and listening public a means to judge it. Like nowadays, when you say, if you quote WHO statistics, very few people challenge you on that. But if you quote statistics coming out of a particular government also, depending on the reputation of the government, people might be a little more skeptical. Understood?
I understand very much.
Understood.
Thank you.
Yeah, because the source must also be credible and, as you rightly said, there must have proof of its validity.
Yeah, and that's one of the weaknesses of taking the things off of social media. When you see a reprint of a story, usually it starts off with, not forget the story, just reprint of information. It's always somebody who has a friend who used to be a doctor in so-and-so university. I really have no time for that. None. Even when they call a name, if they say Dr. Xing Chang Wao from Peking University, I have no confidence in that either. Because anybody can make up a name. So if you tell me that you're quoting it from an official source, or the person, him or herself, is making the video, at least then I could go back and check the credibility and check the bona fides of that particular person. But especially now in this COVID era, everybody is an expert. Everybody have a friend who used to work somewhere, who knew somebody who worked somewhere, who was involved in COVID-19 care. All right?
And so I will say something here if you permit me, and that is where, well, I don't know if I use the term copyright, but if we as individuals quote these individuals who are not credible, whose information is just bogus and intend to just, raise a whole set of panic, then it means that later on down the road, as person research us and this information comes up, we now becomes how should I say, looking for the right word, we're not credible then.
Your credibility goes down.
It goes down the drain, that's right.
As things go now, I'm sure each of you have this experience. There are people who are going to be sending you stuff now, you won't even bother to open it. Because you know they have a reputation for sending you stupidness.
I agree with you. Because even some of the information that comes on, some I just throw them in, I just delete it one time,
Right.
because I don't want to fluster my brain to that at this point in time. I need to stay focused.
You're right. So I'm saying that attitude pervades even with official communication as well. So that there are going to be some, if the organization develops that type of negative track record, when the proposal comes in, the donor is not even bother to read it. And if they do read it, they read in a summary just to be able to confirm that, that they're not taking it on. Depending on the nature of the organization and who they have to report to, they can't just delete it. They have to at least attach a statement to it saying, we reviewed it, doesn't fit within our mandate. End of text.
And again, so that's the main reason why policies and procedures are put in place, so that guidelines too. So we basically have a rule book that we would basically operate by. We have
Yep.
standards that we operate under, so that is why it's so important.
Yep. So I think we have hit statistics over the head. So we're not saying that statistics aren't important, but you need to make sure that you're really getting it from the right source, that you yourself understand the statistic. You want to know what I mean by that? That you yourself understand the statistics. How many of you have written down in a report, forget a grant proposal now, in a report, that there was a 500% increase in something? What does that mean?
It means that whatever the figure was, it would have gone up by 500 times the amount.
Nope. See, I knew I'd catch somebody.
So you say 500% increase in something.
500% increase means.
Okay.
500%.
A 5% increase.
You said 500.
500, sorry, a 500% increase means that, for instance, if you normally have 5 people come to your meeting,
Mm-hmm.
and then at the end of the year, 25 people come to your meeting, that's a 500% increase.
Oh yeah, okay then. All right, stay right there. What's 100% increase?
100% increase is if 10 you get it grows by 5 more, which will be 10.
Okay. Okay. What's 200% increase?
That will be 15 people.
Okay. So 15 people is less than 500% increase is not half of a. You see where I'm heading? Let's go back to the 200% increase. 200% increase is how many people?
15. According to my example, it will be 15.
Exactly.
Because,
All right,
yeah.
I have no problem with that. Okay. What's 250% increase?
You're trying to trick me. Anyway, that will be about, that will be 17 and a half, but you can't get 17 and a half people. So
Right.
I would never write that in terms of people. Yeah, so that will be 17 and a half.
That's because you start off with a small number like 5. If you start off with 50, it will work,
Ah.
Yeah,
Yes, it will work with certain numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So then what you're admitting is that the starting number makes a difference.
True.
Okay. You didn't tell me that when you just load out the answer for 500% increase.
Okay. No, I was giving an example.
All right. But you're seeing that
So they depended on the
because
number.
yeah, you have to be very, very, very careful when you talk about a 500% increase. Because if 100% increase is 5 people, yeah, then a 500% increase It's 25 people. And not the 30. What you did, you included the people that you started off with. Ah, quiet. Did you get that, Kenya? You didn't give me the increase, you gave me the total attendance.
I get where you're coming from, because the 500% is the amount of new added person exclude of what you started with.
Yeah, because you're talking about the increase. I'm not asking about the attendance. The final attendance was something different. All right, so you have to be very, very, very careful. I mean, I know we're supposed to be moving on to expert views there, but I really think that, you know, apart from catching Glenda out totally, you know, you have to be very, very careful when we start using percentages and what we really mean by it. If it's the
You caught me because I was even thinking about money.
all right. So you're talking about the increase,
Yes.
not the final attendance. All right.
So that's why I was thinking about money when I said, you know.
Yeah. But who?
Yeah.
How would you
Pardon?
qualify an expert?
Pardon?
I'm asking the whole class. How will you qualify an expert? When you say you're getting expert views,
I would say somebody who is
this will be interesting.
I would say somebody who is skilled, qualified, have the technical know, and a track record. They would have proven to us that they would have done this before, and they would have, they're credible.
From the experience view.
Pardon?
The view of an experienced person or a view from an expert?
The expert?
We just tell me it's based on your experience.
Meaning their track record. That's what I meant. Because you could be a young person, but you can also be an expert because you could be very skilled in that area and qualified. Yep.
Most people normally think that an expert is somebody who has a degree or something. Most people are, in terms locally, a foreigner, somebody from outside.
Yeah, that too.
And they need to have some kind of qualification. It don't have to be a grade, you just have to have something.
Yeah, true. But I am always very careful with that. Because unless they're coming from a field with some sort of authorizing board, like we have a medical board saying that, okay, this person, and you and Grenada would have a recent example of that. How do you recognize a doctor? It has to be somebody registered with the medical board. Right? And the same way that not everybody with a screwdriver is an electrician. Not everybody walking around with a stethoscope is a doctor. And I find that once you start dealing with community development, expertise comes fast and furious. Because once it's an unregulated profession, or a profession where there are no clear-cut demarcations as to how you describe an expert, then you run into real serious problems there. So I'm just saying that in your development of the needs assessment, the needs statement, you want to be very careful when you talk about expert views. Yeah? Belinda, anybody has any?
I was going to say an expert in a particular area would be someone who has a bit of knowledge as well as the skill to go with it.
Ryan, I don't think I want to.
I will agree with Belinda. I want to give my example that I did in class.
Oh, sorry.
some weeks ago
Go ahead, Kenya.
with this expert that came from wherever. I think it's North America. I think he has a degree in agriculture science or something. However, he was not aware, he did not know about cocoa or nutmeg. He knew about maybe apples and oranges, I guess. And he was there to train the farmers in better farming practices. And he out of his depth because he did not know anything about the crops that he's going to be talking about. And this happened. True story.
Any more?
Okay, I think I get what Kenya is saying. I think my opinion of an expert generally is not just somebody that would have practical knowledge or academic, but a combination of both. And it has to come from a place of serious accreditation.
That's good.
In my world, you have to come with accreditation.
That is good.
And
that's why there's an accreditation.
yes, if you don't come with that, I don't consider you an expert.
So that
and it has to be tailored to whatever we're working on. So if you say you're into marketing or you're into community development or you're an accountant, you must come with those accreditations to prove to me that you're an expert in the area.
Fair enough.
That's my opinion on that.
Looking for. And you have to be very careful when you're discussing transfer of expertise, because you know it's very easy to find a qualified, certified, accredited electrician and to play engineer, electrical engineer.
Yes.
Completely different thing. And we see it in
but in the Caribbean. I'm sorry, sir.
No.
In the Caribbean,
there's a problem when somebody is recognized as an expert in one field. There's a temptation for people to recognize them as experts in everything.
Yes. Yes, that is what I have seen. We tend to do a lot of, or if somebody like Kenya originally said, when they come from away, sometimes you're not sure if who they say they are and what they say they're about is actually the truth. But they come in from England or they come in from the US and suddenly they are the doctrine on something. When you really investigate, it may not be the truth at all, and we might have been duped into thinking that person could have helped a situation.
But that is even a different case in the sense that, I mean, that's fraud.
Well, yeah, but people do that all the time.
Yeah, no, I have no difficulty. When I say I have no difficulty, I mean, that is easier to find out than this transference that because the person is an expert, or has expertise in a particular field, it may not be directly applicable. And I thought that was where Kenya was heading with the agricultural expert. Now, if that person has a degree in temperate agriculture and knows how to grow apples and pears and strawberries, coming down into a tropical environment without expertise, it's just as bad as not being an expert at all, because they'll end up writing and saying a lot of stupidness. And I thought there's a very famous example, true story, but you have to know something about sugarcane to understand what is ridiculous about the story. Sugarcane is a crop that is grown from cuttings, right? Traditionally, you cut pieces of, I'm sure cane coal is still using that in some of its operations. But traditionally, you cut joints of cane, lay them flat, cover them up in the ridge, and that's how you get your cane plants. In most sugar producing countries, especially using the older varieties, HJ 5741 and those kinds of varieties, what they would do is they would leave it for what is known as a ratoon crop. The ratoon crop is pieces of cane that you left in the ground. You didn't plant them. This is like a second crop. Everybody with me?
Yeah, I'm listening.
I'm here. Yeah.
Yeah.
This ratoon crop is like a second crop. We had an expert come down to Trinidad back in the 1970s. Super qualified, of course, as usual. Some white boy from somewhere. Came to our sugar company, Carney. Demanded all the figures, of course. I mean, because those days was run by Tate and Lyle, a big English firm. Demanded all the figures, looked at the statistics, looked at the figures in terms of yield, and decided that the best thing to do, and I'm telling you this is the actual story, he actually wrote a reporter. The best thing to do when he looked at the yield is to plant your ratoon crop, because your ratoon crop was yielding better than the crop that was planted first. So I mean, that just by saying that, it tells you that the person had no idea of what ratoon means. So the fact that you were suggesting that we should only plant ratoon crops, in other words, we should only plant this regenerated plant, right? So it tells you that he had absolutely no clue, right? And people come and tell you that too in terms of, I mean, when you really want to mess them up, you could ask them about, you know, if you could use breadfruit stem cuttings and so, and they'll tell you, yes, of course. Whereas we know that it's only from root cuttings, right? So stuff like that. So you have to be very cautious when you have these expert views. Evidence. How do you
Is
classify?
Letitia trying to get on?
Sorry?
Letitia trying to get on.
Okay. Let me check. Just now, I think I get in half. Right, she should be on now. Letitia, you're on? Letitia?
I'm not seeing her as yet.
I'm seeing her on. Sorry.
Still loading up then. There she goes.
Yeah, Letitia. You're on?
She's connecting audio.
Okay, right. Okay, good.
Hi, evening, everybody. Thanks for letting me in. I'm sorry for being late.
They want to blame
Good
Kenya.
evening.
This is Kenya's account. Yeah, so how would you classify evidence? This is always a good one. People say that, you know, in the proposal, they included evidence in the proposal. What exactly is that? Karen and Belinda and Kenya and Glenda.
It's materials or research materials that would back up the data you would provide, the statistics you provide. So let's say you would have said that based on the research that Karen did, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was supposed to provide evidence of what statistics have on it, whether it be, you know, how much years ago, whatever the case is like, to back up what he said. So he was supposed to have statistics then, and then now maybe he wouldn't have had the accurate information for now because it would have been in the system or would never have been processed. So he can, the data he would have collected, once there was something to show that what he had previous was matching what was there previously, then you can say, okay, we can work with this while we wait on this other, you know, one to come through. So the evidence must be a backup of the statement that you would have made.
Anybody else?
Some of the evidence could be pictures, it could be minutes, I believe, from your meetings.
Yes.
And so forth.
Definitely. Definitely. Sometimes you want tangible stuff. So that there are times when You may not have statistics, but you have evidence as part of your anecdotal presentations. So if you may not have statistics on the success of MARIP, but if you had a picture of one farmer with an improved operation, that could be part of the evidence that they want to bring forward. Now, whether that evidence is going to be convincing or not is an entirely different matter. And when you talk about evidence, you know.
How about using news clippings?
Yes, yes, yes.
And how about, because in like some of my experiences, like, you know, like you invite the media, you have a launch of whatever, and so there will be some track record there, and you can always save your news clippings, and you know, and that can be some evidence that you can present.
What are we looking for? Is documentation.
Documentation, yes.
There you go. Remember, we spent the entire night talking about
yes.
it. Right?
In almost every proposal I did before, Steve, one of the things I always do is try to match whatever statements I make in terms of, for example, let's use a bridge that I was writing a proposal for. I used so many descriptions to state that the bridge is in whatever state it is, right? And right underneath that description, I will put a picture to show the state of the bridge.
Yep.
That always works.
Oh, sorry. So in other words, we can say the evidence is more or less proof showing what we want to get at.
Yeah, I'm worried about this proof. I mean, it gives an impression, it implies.
Okay.
Because one of the things you realize about photos in particular is that it's all a matter
of that, Jenny?
If you've seen some pictures of hotel rooms.
You wet you?
I have seen pictures of hotel rooms that somebody climbed up in a corner, took a wide angle shot. And when you get into that room, the room is as
sorry.
Right? The bed needs an extension. I mean, I've actually been in hotel rooms where I just couldn't fit the bed. Taller than the bed. But if you see the pictures online, well, in those days it wasn't online, if you see the pictures in the brochure, if you take it from the right angle, you know, so even though you're showing a picture of a bridge that is, you know, dilapidated, if you took it from the right angle, it could look a lot worse than it really is.
So Steve, we magnifying the problem.
You could be. Just to make a point. Remember, it's funding you're looking for.
Well, most definitely. I normally try to go. So I go closer and I take the worst of the worst based on the angle that I sometimes I try 4 or 5 different angles and I take the worst of everything.
All right. So that's why I'm telling you that evidence, I wouldn't use a stronger word as proof. It's an indication of what's happening.
Yeah, you're so correct.
All right.
Okay. True. All right.
So these are tricks of the trade. I mean, for the people who are doing these things all the time, you learn these other tricks. You know, perspective is very important. You know,
so I have a question.
Natasha, go ahead.
In cases like that, right? Do you know of any like funding agency that after they review your proposal and so forth, send someone to actually double check the evidence that you would have sent before funding would have been received?
Of course, yeah, definitely.
Normally most agencies send people.
Yeah.
So then what happened?
It depends on the quantum of money. Yeah, if it's I mean, you know, if they wouldn't spend more than the cost of the flight to come to check that.
Mr. Maxime, there's only 2 minutes left.
Oh, okay. All right. So Kevin, we need to go over to you, right?
Okay, no problem.
All right, so let me wrap this up so that we can record it properly.
Great.
Do the last with Karen. Great?
All right.
Okay.